This might be an individual with body armor.
We are starting with breaking news. There has been a mass shooting at the Tops on Jefferson Avenue in the city of Buffalo.
A lot of people very, very disturbed, upset by this. There's a lot of yelling.
And then inside the Tops, he said he saw the suspect crouch down and shoot around.
Buffalo is in mourning tonight after a gunman opened fire at the Tops supermarket.
10 people were shot and killed. 3 were taken to the hospital.
This was pure evil. It was straight up racially motivated hate crime from somebody outside of our community.
We speak for the dead. And when we speak for those who have lost their life, we are going to bring them justice, their families justice, and this community justice.
People have also started a candlelight vigil across the street. Even in the past hour, the amount of candles and cards and flowers.
It's hard to know what to say. This is my community. I know this community well. I've walked these streets.
This is the worst nightmare that any community can face. And we are hurting and we are seething right now as a community.
The eyes of the nation are on Buffalo, and those eyes are full of tears, and they're full of sympathy for the violence and the tragedy that's been exacted on good, innocent people.
Evil will not win, I promise you. Hate will not prevail, and white supremacy will not have the last word.
I can only imagine.
Father, we come now for families of so many whose family members left the house to pick up bread, to buy eggs and butter, to just go to work.
How dare you! I need a village to help me raise and be here for my son because he has no father.
We pray for those families, that they may be comforted by you, even when evil has struck our city. We pray for every person in this community who witnessed it, every child who may have seen it, every mother who will not see their child tonight.
But we're not just hurting, we're angry, we're mad. But how else can we honor our mother? How else can we uphold the things that she put in us, the things she believed in?
Pray for guidance, pray for peace, pray for unity. But most of all, God, we pray that justice be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
May 14th, 2022, a date that is burned into Buffalo's history as a day that is one of the darkest, most devastating, and deadly. On that warm spring afternoon, here at the Tops Market on the city's east side, 10 beautiful black lives were lost by a pure act of evil.
And now, 365 days later, the hum of daily life has returned here to Jefferson Avenue, but the air forever heavier, weighed down by events of that day 1 year ago.
In the next hour, we're going to reflect back on 5/14, on what we lost, on what we learned, and how we continue to heal.
This past year, 10 families had one less chair at the dinner table, one less loved one to hug and to hold.
Marley Tuskus and photojournalist Allison Stabell talked to the families of these victims about the beautiful souls that they lost all too soon.
Ten beautiful lives were lost on May 14th, 2022, ripped from their families over the color of their skin. But that's not how their loved ones want them to be remembered, now a year later. Pearl Young's family wants her to be known for her life of service. The 77-year-old spent hours at the Good Samaritan Church of God in Christ, working at the soup kitchen and food pantry. often handing out things she cooked herself.
Every time I saw her, she was always happy. She was always willing to help somebody else. She was always willing to give God glory and give God praise.
While in her 30s, raising 3 children, Pearl got her bachelor's degree in social sciences from the University at Buffalo. Up until her death, Pearl would teach as a substitute for Buffalo Public Schools.
Ms. Young loved the students that she taught. Her love was infectious, and the kids loved her back. She always greeted them with a warm smile, a hug, and a great conversation.
Catherine Massey's family says she was a gentle but strong soul. A fighter for her community, the 72-year-old was called the mayor of Cherry Street. She advocated for civil rights, education, and federal regulation of firearms.
Cat Massey was a friendly activist, or an activist with a smile. One who she was going to get what she wanted, she was going to demand what she wanted, but she was going to work with people to get what she wanted.
Fiercely passionate, Kat's loved ones say she was always motivated by love.
You always hear that nobody's perfect without flaw. But when the Lord made Kat, he made her the exception to his rule.
A father to 5 children and grandfather to 3, Andre McNeil was visiting Buffalo from Auburn, New York. He had been at the Tops store picking up a birthday cake for his 3-year-old son. His loved ones say for Andre, family always came first.
I made my dad promise me to stay on top of his health because I didn't want to lose him. And even though we had separation in life, once we did rekindle, we were inseparable. I called him for literally everything, especially when I wasn't getting my way because I knew he would make a way.
Andre loved music, listening to it, and playing the guitar. He also enjoyed poetry, but overall, he loved being there for those closest to him.
If you would have stopped and had a conversation with him, your whole life would have changed. Your whole life.
Warm, honest, and brave are just some of the words loved ones of Geraldine Talley used to describe her. Those that knew her best say she would give anyone the shirt off her back.
Very Southern woman, Baptist roots, Grove Hill, Alabama. She loved cooking for her friends, for her family, co-workers.
She was especially known for her baking, cheesecake being one of her specialties. Her son Mark says his mother was protective and would call him almost every day. In the wake of her death, he created Agents for Advocacy and says he thinks she would be proud.
I always told her to man up every time she had to deal with something, so I'm pretty sure she would tell me to man up and keep doing what you're doing too.
Hayward Patterson was a loving father of 3 and a man of God. As a deacon, he led State Tabernacle Church of God on Glenwood Avenue for more than a decade.
Deacon Patterson was a little of everything in this community. He was a greeter, you know what I mean? He was an usher, he was a deacon, and he was an armor bearer. And most of all, he was a community servant.
Hayward, also known as Tenny Boy, Boy Tenny, or just Tenny, would serve the community in many ways. He often spent time at the soup kitchen, and nearly every day he would drive people who were without transportation to and from the Tops on Jefferson Avenue, only taking whatever they could pay.
The sweeping, the vacuuming, he would do cleaning, he would help out with the pastor, he would help out me in the back. He would stay here to make sure I was safe. And then he would also go up to Tops and do gently, making sure those who didn't have transportation would be able to shop and get their groceries home. He was a man of service.
A warrior. Celestine Cheney survived breast cancer and 3 brain aneurysms.
The thing that I think that we want to hold on to was her level of resilience. And resilience is not the ability to bounce back, but to battle every day, to get up every day with illnesses and sickness, but she never had a level of complaint.
Always the life of the party, her son Wayne Jones, Celestine's only child, says she had celebrated her 65th birthday with steak, lobster, and mimosas a week before her death. Friends say she had the gift of gab and loved being surrounded by her family.
When you saw her, you saw love. When you saw her, you saw resilience. When you saw her, you saw faithfulness. And that's exactly how the family will remember her. Not as someone who is a victim, but someone who they loved and who they will continuously cherish and continue in their legacy.
Roberta Drury's family say she had a personality that could fill up a room. Known as Robbie, loved ones describe her as a ray of sunshine.
Every time she talked with friends and family, she was that light that shone through whatever darkness might have been present.
Robbie was a daughter and sister. She grew up outside of Syracuse, but had moved to Buffalo a decade ago to care for her brother battling leukemia. Her selflessness and love is something her family says will carry on as her legacy.
She was kind. She was kind. Like, once she became friends with someone, it was like for life. And you could feel it at that exact moment. She was, no matter what she went through, she would smile. She really was special. Through everything, she was special, like her light shined.
Margus Morrison's family says he was their hero. The father of 7 spent his days with children, working as a bus aide for Buffalo Public Schools.
Mr. Morrison was known to have perfect attendance as a bus aide, enjoyed his work, was on time every single day, loved the students of the bus that he was on from School 99.
Margus's children say their father had a love for life. They'll remember the sunglasses he would wear, his laughter, and his jokes.
He just did the best he could. He worked as hard as he could. He worked. He did what he could for his kids.
A man devoted to his wife and kids. An inventor who loved to fix things. A hero. Those are the many ways people have described Aaron Salter Jr. The retired Buffalo police officer was posthumously given the Medal of Honor and promoted to the rank of lieutenant after his actions are credited with saving lives during the shooting.
It's wonderful that people recognize him and honor him. What he did that day was just who he was as a person. He didn't do anything heroic. That's who Aaron was. If somebody was in trouble, he's gonna go and help you out.
His friends say Aaron had a roaring laugh that could be heard throughout the police station where he worked. He was also a man of faith.
Well, Aaron was full of life. He loved his family. He loved his faith. He was a Christian, and Christ was the head of his life. And he was just a man who really cared about the community.
When asked to describe Ruth Whitfield in one word, this is what Garnell Whitfield Jr. had to say about his mother.
Powerful.
A true matriarch, Ruth's loved ones say she had made their family whole, the spokes of a wheel that kept it turning.
Our grandmother went to buy seeds for her garden on May 14th, 2022. She may not have been able to plant those seeds, but the seeds that she planted throughout her life are abundant.
The 86-year-old loved fishing, camping, and cooking. She also loved her church, Durham Metro, located on Eagle Street, right across from the apartment where her family had lived for some time. Garnell says on May 13th he had been with his mother, but left to meet with a person to fix the church's roof, which was in disrepair.
That's the last time I saw my mom. That fell through with that roofer. Obviously, the next day she was murdered. But I'm thankful to God that not long after that I found another roofer, and the church has a new roof on it today.
The pain for the families who lost these 10 souls is still there. But Whitfield says at this point, a year later, our community can honor them by recognizing this moment.
All of our lives depend on us coming together and coming into relationship with our Creator and with each other. That's what this moment is, nothing less.
Many lives were changed on May 14th, 2022. 3 people, all employees of the Tops on Jefferson Avenue, were wounded when the gunman shot them. Zaire Goodman had been helping shoppers with their groceries and carts in the store's parking lot. He was shot in the neck, the bullet going right through. His mother, Zanetta Everhart, says an inch to the left or right, and he would have been killed. She calls it a miracle, but says the path to recovery has been a difficult one.
Over the last several months, his life has been all about going to the doctor, seeing therapists, and trying to make peace with knowing that someone came into his community and tried to kill him because of the color of his skin. And then questioning why his life was spared when 10 others did not survive.
Jennifer Warrington asked her sister to take care of her children if she died. Warrington had been working in the store's pharmacy when she was shot in the head. Stephanie Waters said she had called her sister to catch up. Warrington answered from inside the ambulance.
It wasn't until I was sitting in the airport, in the plane, that my nephew called and said, "Aunt Steph, it was a white supremacist." I roared in pain for my sister, my beautiful sister, pharmacist, who was serving in the East Side. I never knew if I would see her again. I roared also in pain for my brothers and sisters who do not look like me or like the defendant. I roared in pain because he bought into the lies of this country that somehow, because of the amount of the chemical in our skin, we are superior.
Christopher Braden says his life has been forever changed after a bullet tore through his leg. The Tops manager spent more than a week in the hospital, needing multiple surgeries. He still has difficulty using his leg and suffers from PTSD and night terrors. But he does not want to be known as a victim. Braden made that clear when he addressed the gunman at his state sentencing.
I could speak for hours about my injuries and treatment, as well as the permanency of these injuries, the stress of not being able to return to work, the pain I suffered hospitalized that continues to this day, extensive rehab I have gone through. However, I would rather talk about being a survivor. I'm still the same person that I was before you did this to me. My scars and pain remind me of how strong I've become. I am more alive and stronger than ever. You haven't taken away my will to live. You haven't broken my spirit. The scars are a constant reminder of what happened to me, but don't define my future.
May 14th, although it wasn't one of my relatives that perished, it was still probably one of the worst days of my life.
I was broken. I cried, and I'm still crying.
The whole of Buffalo pretty much stood still in awe, wondering how in the world could this have happened in Buffalo?
A picture-perfect spring Saturday turned into a nightmare.
I'm always looking, where's the next exit? How do I protect myself if something were to happen? A fear of uncertainty now looms in our community.
It was a day where many local leaders wore several hats, trying to console a shocked community while experiencing those emotions themselves.
I did notice you just delivered some terrible news to residents, and unfortunately that is part of your job tonight. So walk me through what that is like, because you have to have your political hat on, but you're a neighbor as well.
You know, I think sometimes it's hard to have all these hats on when it's something like this happens. You just end up being a man, you know, the person of the community. But to have to tell somebody that their mother is deceased is tough, you know, because they were hoping and praying that she might not be one of the victims. But unfortunately, that's part of the job, and we come and we do it. But knowing, and it's kind of crazy that I did, knowing that I was getting ready to tell somebody else that their mom had passed, it was hard. It was very hard. And then to tell him and to see his reaction, and he knew the reaction as we were walking toward, he knew the news, and then her sister, it was tough.
How do we heal? Where does that even begin?
But as we get to this 1 year mark, I still am not really okay, and I'm still not really where I need to be. And it's really based on those families, because so many families are not okay, and so many families are not where they need to be. So I feel guilty about trying to be okay before any of those 10 families are okay, or before any of the employees who are in the store or not in the store are okay. So now I'm in kind of a place of guilt.
An entire section of our city was left without a central piece of the Jefferson Avenue community, a place to gather, to hear the news, and to buy food. Lenny Lane is a former Buffalo firefighter who mobilized his organization to create a new community focal point right across the street.
Come on, grab the bag.
Still hosting free food giveaways 1 year later in the wake of tragedy.
Took everything that I was going through, all that anger, all that frustration, you know what I mean, all of that stress, and really getting out into the community and serving the community and letting them know that we are still thinking about them, we still caring for them, and we still love them, and we're going to do all we can to make sure that they get through this healing process.
While the raw pain and emotion remains, many wonder where the city goes from here, moving forward with change while remembering the past.
If we don't stand up and make a difference now, then shame on us. If we don't look at these opportunities that are now presented to us, then shame on us. We have right now the opportunity to make a big difference in our community.
If we can get to the point of just recognizing one thing, a white supremacist killed 10 people, and that there are other white supremacists out there, and we must work together to eradicate it, or at least expose it, because I don't think in my lifetime we'll ever get rid of it, but I think that we have a great opportunity to expose it.
It starts with conversations to eradicate hate.
We are closer together, you know, and we have the same mind because of the tragedy, what happened. So we feel in one another's pain. We feel in one another's heartache. We feel in each other's struggles as they go through this horrific memory that we still can't believe.
It ends with accountability, holding those in power responsible to fulfill promises.
Our community has been so broken by the promises of others. We need to make sure that the promises that have been set, that are actually done, we need to make sure we have better access to the funds and the monies that can help fix the homes and the communities here. It's a whole lot, but I know Buffalo, we can do it.
It's a message of hope and belief as this community builds back stronger, one day at a time.
When you have people in the city of Buffalo, black and white and Asian and Native American, who all decried this horrible scene and who were here, and many who have stayed around here, oh, it's moving. It ain't there yet, but it's moving.
I remember it's like it was yesterday. I was down near New York City at an event on the Hudson River, and I was told I needed to leave the event immediately, and took a plane up. I was here within an hour and a half. So I went immediately to the site, and as I was traveling, was getting all the details, and it was like a kick in the stomach because I knew this is my home. You know, there's tragedies that happen all over the country. Sadly, 200 mass shootings this year alone already. But to me, it was my hometown. I've been to that Tops. I've been in this community countless times. And so we came, we gathered, we consoled, and I knew I needed to stay. I stayed for a number of days and brought my team up because it was just the beginning of a long healing process, which is not over yet.
What was your mission immediately following the shooting then?
To make sure that everybody on the ground had the backup law enforcement to help with any investigations that were required, to go to the home of the perpetrator and find out You know, what was on his computer? What was, you know, were there any other weapons in the home? So our state police were involved in the investigation. Me personally, it was to show up and to literally just show my commitment to this community by being here physically and wherever I was needed. We met with the mayor, we met with the county executive, we met with everyone involved in the community, and then finally met the families. It was one of the toughest days of my life, just to know that a town that I care so much about, a city that is my home, was searing in pain.
And this happened in your state, and you're touching on it. Was there an added urgency or horror for you because it happened in your hometown? You know the people here.
And this is something that we've read about in other cities, you know, Newtown, Connecticut, the slaughter of children, and Parkland, the killing in Florida in a high school, all the way back to, you know, Colorado. I mean, it's all been part of our lives, but you read about it in the news. You saw the images on television. This was the first time you experienced the event unfolding before your eyes, the aftermath, the people on the streets, the bewilderment, people in disbelief of what they knew had happened, and asking so many questions. Why? Why did this happen to my loved one? Why this community? Why did this individual with such hate in his heart choose to come to Buffalo, so far from where he lived? And it turned out this community was targeted, not because he had a connection, but he literally researched and found the community with the largest black population and the closest drive to his home. This was 3 hours from his home. Communities in Brooklyn, the Bronx, the city, were 3.5. It was that random that he said, I'll go to Buffalo. And that is what is so shocking.
Well, a year out, are you satisfied with the services that have come from the state?
We've provided many services, but if there's still a need, we'll still be here. We're not walking away from this. This was not a one-time, here's some money, good luck. My team is constantly on the ground here, working with the community partners and finding out what other support is needed. And the economic investment here. This has been a catalyst for people to say, you know what, we really should be building more houses there. We should be fixing up the storefronts. We should be creating incubators for small businesses that'll grow into bigger businesses. So it's, even before the shooting, I announced significant money for this community. After the shooting, brought even more. But it's also lifting up this community to give them the resources to help themselves as well.
One of the steps you took immediately after the shooting was to pursue tougher gun measures, and you did sign a package of legislation. Is there more that you want to do in the area of gun control measures?
You know, we've banned this AR-15, which is used in more of the mass shootings than any other weapon. We made sure that, and they had been banned, but the individual who committed these heinous murders in Buffalo literally went to the neighboring state, Pennsylvania, and picked up a high-capacity magazine. We should have a national ban on AR-15s, military-style assault weapons that only belong on the battlefield as they had been when they first were unveiled. We banned ghost guns. We banned high-capacity magazines, as I mentioned. We also made sure that there's more background checks. And the red flag laws have been the most significant change. We have over 10,000 guns that have been removed from the streets because something went off. Someone finally saw something that gave a warning, where they're allowing the police to go look and see whether this person who could do harm to themselves or others had access to guns. We're making great strides, but I'm always looking to make sure that New York is #1 when it comes to gun safety, protecting our community, and whether it was banning the armored gear, the vest that this individual used. If he hadn't been wearing that vest, the security guard who was so brave at Tops would not have lost his life. He would have been able to stop the shooter. So we made sure that that was part of the law as well.
Governor, do you think this mass shooting, this terrible event in your hometown, has informed or changed the way you govern in any way? For instance, would you be more apt to pursue gun-related issues, or would you perhaps focus on the differences, the inequities in our lives, access to food and services, that kind of thing. Has it changed you as a governor?
You can't go through an experience like this as deeply felt my emotions were. I had to translate them not into pain for myself, but to translate that into policy and changes, to give this community a sense of hope that I've always cared about Buffalo, I've always cared about the East Side, but now the rest of the nation and the rest of the state were paying attention to this community. And it was a moment in time where I knew that I could translate that into policies that would matter and prevent the next crime, perhaps. We don't always know for sure, but I wanted them to know that these lives were not in vain. And that's why we've had changes in how we're addressing mental health. We put money toward communities in our criminal justice package, communities that were part of the whole trauma from shootings, whether it's the mass shootings or the day-to-day gun violence, which has traumatized communities all over this country. We're putting money to help them heal with mental health support and alternatives to incarceration, all kinds of support services, and gun disruption programs, violence disruptor programs. So yes, it's changed me. I think it's made me appreciate the resiliency of the people where I come from, how tough Buffalo is, and I need that often in my job, and I draw on that, you know. And I'm reminded of the blessings that I have. My family is still doing well. They're okay. There's a lot of families here that don't have that blessing in their lives, and so that motivates me to be the best I can be, to be their voice, the voice of those who feel they've been voiceless for too long. And yes, so it's changed me in a positive, powerful way. This is just too many. And I want to make sure that our country does not become desensitized. As shocked as we were on May 14th in 2022, there have been so many mass shootings since. I don't want Americans to become complacent and accept that this has to be the norm. We have to stop the proliferation of these guns. We have to allow communities to heal and value each other, and to stop the mental illness or whatever causes are out there. And those who are white supremacists, as this individual was, where is that hate coming from? It has to stop. And if the social media platforms are the purveyors of this and the way that this is spread, they need to be held accountable as well. So I have a lot of emotions over this. But all I know is on this anniversary, I could not be prouder to be from a city like Buffalo that took pain and turned into a positive outcome. And that's why I love this city.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
It was a beautiful, sunny day. People were out enjoying the day.
You know, it was a beautiful day that day. It was an opportunity for me to get some yard work done. I was out cutting the lawn, getting some stuff done.
Got a call from the police commissioner that there had been a shooting at the Tops on Jefferson Avenue.
Radio, send as many cars as you possibly can. 3 down inside so far, 2 outside, radio.
The update call came in pretty quickly. This is bad. I said, I'm on my way.
Mayor Byron Brown and Police Commissioner Joe Gramaglia weren't planning to work May 14th. Neither had any public engagements on the schedule. It was finally warm, cloudless, after another sluggish winter kept spring at bay, when they were thrust into the nightmare that's becoming all too familiar in this country. Human beings being cut down in public spaces by weapons of war. Because the Tops on Jefferson Avenue was, that day, indeed a war zone.
It was chaotic. It was also jarring. I'm getting the chills just thinking about it and talking about it now. There were bodies lying on the ground covered with sheets. And with a few, I could see the covering getting red with blood.
Then the usual flow of events following such tragedies. Media coverage, memorials, funerals, maybe a criminal trial if the shooter lived, lawsuits.
I need this violence to stop.
That's brought this embattled but resilient community to this Sunday, and to a future that will see more economic support for the city's east side. I wanted to know if the millions from the city, the tens of millions promised from the state, millions more from the federal government would be enough for widespread evidence-based progress. Brown says that's only part of the answer to a question that's drawing frustration.
It's not enough money. Several $billion is not enough money to completely turn East Buffalo around. It is a start if the money is spent wisely, if the design of how the money is spent is intelligent. It has to be measured on, are Black people working? Are Black businesses participating? Are Black children getting more educational opportunities? Are Black homeowners getting resources to invest in their homes? Are private sector businesses that formerly discriminated either privately, quietly, are they doing more to open the doors of opportunity to people in the Black community?
Why do you think that question frustrates you?
So many things have to happen from every level of government. Things need to happen with the private sector. They need to happen with the not-for-profit sector. Need to happen with the people themselves. All of those things have to work together for progress.
White supremacy had long since made its way from the dark corners of the internet to the undeveloped mind and soul of the gunman by the time Gramaglia was named commissioner in March of 2022. The plan for the deadliest day of his career was already set, and Gramaglia could do nothing to prevent it.
There's no gang nexus. There's no hotspot for that. There was nothing measured. There was nothing out there. There was nothing that we've seen to this day that we missed a sign or that we missed a social media post or, we missed a report or something. And that's the hard part to deal with.
And while warning signs were apparent in the shooter's hometown of Binghamton, in his school, and with the state police, they were absent in Buffalo. But Gramaglia knows the rapid response to the grocery store by his officers prevented continued carnage on that day.
He had plans to calmly walk to his car. He left his car door open for a reason, to get back in that car and to drive up Jefferson Avenue and kill more people. So, if not for the officers being where they needed to be, thank God we stopped more violence, more death, more shooting. We stopped him from following through with his plan. It still hurts the fact that there was no way to prevent that from happening, and there were no signs to do that. That's the hard part to contend with.
After 5/14 happened, millions of dollars came to Buffalo to help out survivors of the shooting and also families of the victims, also community organizations directly impacted. To help out those community groups that were providing around-the-clock support to the Jefferson Avenue community, the Buffalo Together Community Response Fund was created. Grants ranging from $5,000 to $20,000 were quickly given to dozens of organizations that were on the front lines, helping families cope and to put food on the table, like the NAACP and the Delvin Grider Community Center, where President Joe Biden spoke after the massacre.
May the soul of the fallen rest in peace and rise in glory.
In total, the fund raised $6.2 million, money that came from foundations and companies across the country and thousands of individual donors. But much of the money, about $5.5 million, has been unspent, kept in fiduciary.
How could we address long-term housing deficiency, long-term lack of investment in businesses, long-term health disparities, food insecurity, transportation issues?
Thomas Buford Jr. is the president and CEO of the Buffalo Urban League. He's a co-chair of the steering committee overseeing the Buffalo Together Community Response Fund. As generous donors stepped forward after the mass shooting, local leaders quickly envisioned the goal of using these resources to address deeply rooted inequities on Buffalo's east side, which has been neglected for far too long.
The fund was actually put together to create a long-term strategic plan for change, transformational change, to spur economic development in the community.
Buford says the committee has been looking at initiatives in other cities, out of state, to see what could work here in Buffalo, and that a strategic plan will be released.
We're trying to have that development without displacement. All right, so when this development does occur, or as it occurs, will the people who are the current residents be able to participate in that?
Members in charge of the Buffalo Together Community Response Fund want that answer to be yes. The Buffalo Urban League says later this year, by the end of the year, that investment strategy will be released, detailing exactly where the funds will be spent.
When racism raised its ugly head on this street last year, people responded with love, hugs, and prayers. The business community responded with tremendous financial support for the victims, their families, and this neighborhood. What was your first reaction when you heard we had a mass shooting in Buffalo?
It really was disbelief. The whole idea of that occurring in general, and then of course in Buffalo. It's just something you never expect to have in your own neighborhood.
I felt like I had been punched in the gut when I realized what truly had happened that day at Tops.
Like everyone, we were shocked, horrified.
Once the shock of the unbelievable became a reality, corporate citizens were quick to react. Less than 24 hours after the massacre, Scott Beeler of the West Her Automotive Group donated $300,000 to be given directly to the victims' families and survivors.
We were able to get together his incredibly generous donation and meet with all of the families within a very short period of time and give them money that they needed for whatever it was they needed. Scott did not care what it was for, as long as it got directly into their hands and very quickly.
Rhonda Frederick is the former head of People Inc., and many of her people pitched in to help in the relief effort. She believes there were many lessons learned from this tragedy.
How important our community is, how important it is to stick together, all the beautiful things that have happened on Jefferson Avenue since then. I'm sorry we have to have tributes and memorials, but we've got to keep this alive, and so we can be a better society.
The biggest thing is they gave it their time.
Another massive response came from Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Dr. Michael Edbauer is the leader of Highmark and is proud of his employees for pitching in.
What needs to be done? If some of it was helping to box up food, some of it was helping to collect food. Later on, it was things like helping get diapers for children, really just being able to be in the community and really do what's ever necessary. Over time, it got a little bit more planned out with things helping with some of the mental health services that were required in the community as well.
Besides the $400,000 given to the 514 fund, one of the victims retired from Highmark, so they set up a $20,000 scholarship fund in the name of Kat Massey.
It just brought it so much more to home, right? So now this is someone that our associates had interacted with over the years. She just was full of energy and life, and I think with that connection, it just made it that much more real for all of our associates.
Another huge response came from the Buffalo Bills Foundation and the NFL.
The fact that there was a mass shooting here within our community that was racially motivated was completely devastating.
Michelle Roberts runs the foundation.
I feel blessed that we can use our platform to do such good work within our community. It's a special place. Western New York, no one comes together the way Western New York does, and the way they love their bills and the way they respond to our team and some of the messages that we put out there was just beyond anything we ever expected.
She gives a lot of credit to the nonprofits on the east side who worked hard to make sure people had food and other provisions.
They worked tirelessly to make sure the community was served. I don't know if anyone worked harder than those on the east side.
Wegmans also made a large donation, $400,000 to the 514 fund, but the employees wanted to do even more.
We mobilized our people. We knew that our own employees were so compelled by what happened and really wanted to be out and helping and serving the communities.
This mass shooting, as tragic as it was, taught us an important lesson.
I really do think it's the recognition that, unfortunately, there is still too much hate, too much racism, and we need to take more proactive steps to say, how do we address that moving forward? We just can't keep doing what we've done before. It's not working. We really have to do something different.
There are thousands of books here at Villa Maria College for Zanetta and Zair's book club. And with each book, the hope is to turn the page on racism and open the youngest readers' minds to diversity and inclusion.
It's about celebrating our differences, right? Our differences should always make us curious, not angry.
1 year ago, Zaire Goodman was working at the Tops on Jefferson, helping an elderly woman outside with her cart when he was shot in the neck. He was one of 3 survivors. In the days that followed, something beautiful was born out of tragedy.
A lot of the people wanted to give money, and they're like, where's your GoFundMe? You know, we want to send Zaire money. And I was like, we didn't start a GoFundMe. And so in lieu of a GoFundMe, we decided to start Zanetta and Zaire's book club.
Zaire and his mother, Zanetta Everhart, put together an Amazon wish list and asked people to buy books. The world answered their call. They have collected over 18,000 books and counting, with Villa serving as the distribution hub.
Of course, education is what we do. She also saw education as her primary response and realized that education is the key to changing people's hearts and minds and getting them to understand these very complex issues.
We've done readings at schools, at libraries, at community centers. We've taken books to daycares. So many people have reached out to us. For Black History Month, we did an amazing month-long program partnering with the Buffalo Bills. And, you know, that was just amazing. We were all over the place, and the kids lit up.
The goal is simple: foster a new generation of compassionate leaders.
For people who are not African American, right? It's a window. These books are windows into the lives of African Americans and Black people in this country. And for Black people, for Black children, those books are mirrors, which is extremely, extremely important. Representation matters. Kids who see themselves depicted in books, that matters.
Zanetta and Zaire want to turn their book club into a 501c3, a beacon of light that will last forever. As they forge ahead on their mission to eradicate hate through the distribution of books, they urge the young, curious minds to have the uncomfortable conversations, connect with each other, and embrace diversity.
Give people grace. Try to do your best to pick up a book, read about people. Come out from behind the screens and the games and stuff like that, and actually talk to someone in your classroom who doesn't look like you. They're probably exactly like you are.
You know, we just get this message or this alert on our phone, and it's just like Tops mass shooting, and it's like what? And then of course, and when you see Buffalo, and then it's like, what? Like Buffalo, really?
Dion Dawkins shares the pain of that day.
When the tragedy happened, we all just basically said, all right, let's jump in. You know, like on that block specifically, and in those community centers and in those libraries and in those food kitchens and in those little kind of corners where, you know, people could just line up and get a fresh meal. It just triggers. It just triggers, and then when it triggers, you just react.
This was just days after the Tops mass shooting, as members of the Bills, Sabres, and Bandits went to do their part.
With a situation like this, in any situation, people just need to keep pouring into it over and over and over.
That's exactly what Dion did, as he raised money through his cornhole tournament and even surprised Andre McNeil's son for his birthday.
That kid is special, and he knows that truly, I mean, like, if he ever needs me, like, he can just hit me or have his mom get in touch.
What did you make of the way that your team came together and you immediately were out there and you saw people trying to find different ways to help?
The overall thing is Buffalo has an enormous shield of power, you know. Buffalo is so strong, and the people are so strong here that they just take hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, and they just keep hitting up and fighting and marching forward, and they find a way.
On one of Buffalo's worst days in history, the country stepped in to help. Money and other donations flooded into Buffalo's east side. And this little fridge in the area got a lot of attention. You can find it less than half a mile from the Tops on Jefferson Avenue. The community fridge is cold 24/7 for anyone hungry to take what they need inside.
Community fridges really started popping up during the pandemic as an alternate resource for people in need, right? Before we got those stimulus checks, before we really got any government support, community fridges kind of became a way that neighbors can take care of neighbors.
The idea for this fridge came from a group of community fridges in New York City. It was turned on in October of 2020.
We just find that this gets a lot of foot traffic and a lot of people in need of food in this area.
When a gunman killed 10 innocent people at the grocery store on May 14th, 2022, the community fridge posted to their popular social media account a Venmo account that people could donate to. Within days, hundreds of thousands of dollars came flooding in. Other donations came in as well.
We had people on the ground starting from that Sunday. People were tabling, dropping off bulk donations. Essentially, everyone went into crisis mode.
For about 10 days, they took in and gave out an immense amount of food in the community. They weren't and still aren't a 501c3, so group leaders got help setting up a bank account and got to work spreading out the money amongst other organizations doing good work in town.
We knew that we had a job to do in reallocating these back to other organizations, Black-led organizations, other boots-on-the-ground organizations.
Here's a list of everyone who got money. 10 organizations in all received donations in late summer last year. The community fridge gave away more than half of what they received. The rest of the money will go toward their own mission. And this isn't the only free community fridge in Buffalo. This one is called the Big Herc Fridge. You can find it on Herkimer Street on the city's west side. There's another one at the Buffalo Collegiate Charter School campus. Today, despite what happened on May 14th, the mission of the fridges is the same as it was in 2020. Help feed neighbors who may be struggling.
Our hope is that the community will make donations to the fridge, take what they need, and leave what they don't.
The greatest need is people.
They're in need of volunteers to help stock the fridges and clean them. Pick up a few extra groceries on your weekly supermarket run. If you buy food for the fridge and send them your receipt, they'll pay you back up to $100.
We love greens, fruits, veggies. That's really our primary focus because unlike a food pantry, we're a fridge, so we can store fresh food. It doesn't all have to be non-perishable.
Also, Buffalo Collegiate is closing, so they're hopeful another business in the area of Jewett Avenue near the Tri-Main building will take over. For more information, go to buffalocommunityfridges.com.
When students decades from now pass through the Buffalo History Museum, what will represent May 14th, 2022?
That's the conversation that we gotta have. 514 didn't just happen. It's been in the making for hundreds of years.
What artifacts will sit enclosed in glass? Whose recorded voice will recount the earth-shattering pain? What documents will share America's systemic issues with race?
I want to be remembered in death as the impetus for the change that we are working for.
Garnell Whitfield lost his mother Ruth at Tops on May 14th. It's a day that will forever be seared into the history of Buffalo, New York. Whitfield says the history behind what bred the murder of 10 innocent people needs to be documented, as do the memorial items left at Tops in the months that followed, and the stories of those lost and traumatized.
It's important work. I mean, one of the problems with where we are today in our society is our history has not been preserved. Our history has been told by others, if at all. And so it's very important that we start preserving our history, that we start being the authors of our own narrative.
A mile away from the Buffalo History Museum's cherry blossoms and marble columns sits its resource center. That's where memorial items with the names and images of those lost rest safely. Artifacts placed at the scene with messages of hope and change were saved from the destruction of Buffalo's winter. Melissa Brown is the museum's executive director.
I can sit here and tell you, I don't have all the answers for how this collection is going to take shape in our community.
But with the help of the victims' families and community stakeholders, the museum is looking for answers.
We're growing our partnership base because the first part is just ensuring there's a record. And then the way you and I might interpret something might be very, very different from the way a historian who's looking back on this event 60 years from now. We just want to make sure there's an authenticity to the record, that there's a fullness in the record.
Brown meets with the victims' families monthly to discuss preservation progress. She says a key piece of documenting May 14th goes beyond the preserved memorial pinwheels and signs.
There's a call to action, a call to communicating, like, what is racism? What is the history in our community? What is the history of segregation that has impacted this community for generations? And there is a universal agreement that those stories need to be discussed. This is one piece of a greater story that didn't just start that day.
The Buffalo and Erie County Public Library is working to help record spoken history of community members this fall.
I know it's going to be a very difficult time for the community and especially for the families of the victims. And I just want them to know that we're going to do our best to make sure their stories are told.
So will there be an exhibit? Melissa Brown says that answer is being worked out. For the time being, her focus is on making sure the complex history of May 14th is saved.
The exhibit I want to see is people doing it differently, treating us with respect. I mean, that's the exhibit that's needed. America needs to own up to its history, to its past, acknowledge our contribution to this nation, to this world, and do differently going forward.
Is there anything that can erase the pain and horror of that dark day 1 year ago?
I'm hurting for the city that I love. I'm hurting for the people on the east side.
We pray, God, that you would give them strength and that you would give them courage in the days and weeks to come.
Time has worn away some of the sharp edges. Compassion has helped. Cooperation, too.
What was intended to break us apart has actually brought us closer together.
And it helps that we belong to a community that strives to be Buffalo strong.
And we need to let the world know who Buffalo is, who the people in Buffalo are.
We are the city of good neighbors, and we, of course, are not defined by this act, but how we will come together.
We had to be strong to get through those raw early days, and we have to be strong to do the hard work that still lies ahead together.
We want to channel that anger into some things that will help change the laws, change the society, change the mindset in this community and this country.
Now, as we reflect on the 10 neighbors we lost, we will always remember that as life continues, those 10 people make us stronger together.